on my end.
It had to have been 20. So it was on the,
Did you already sign this?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
because I always try to,
It's not worth anything until I.
Yeah.
they won 5 years.
I know, she's in charge, she's the boss.
Get that, and let me talk.
We're ready?
Yes, we are.
It's 5 o'clock, the special meeting for the Finance Cow. Call to order. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Mayor Miller,
Here.
Alderpersons Clem,
Here.
Monroe is absent, as is Simmons, Parker,
Here.
Stacy is absent, Shadle,
Here.
Sanders is absent, and Sellers.
Here.
We have a quorum.
If we could join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
So, well, I'd like to do it twice.
Okay, item 4 on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
So move. Second.
Motion by Clem, second by Parker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Item 5 would be approval of the minutes from the September 5, September 11, September 18, September 25, 2023 Finance Committee of the Whole meetings. Motion to approve?
So move.
Thank you.
Second. Second.
Second by Clem, motion by Alderperson Sellers, I'm sorry.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments for agenda items, is there anybody on the list? No. Seeing none, we'll move to the presentation by City Manager Boyer and Director Richter.
All right, good evening, everyone. We're getting to our last bit on the budget, so we're on to changes. Okay, so here's the remaining schedule. We're going to review the budget with changes since the last presentation, and then we're going to review the 2024 staffing. There will be a few changes there. And at the committee of the whole, we're going to do the tax levy, the tax abatements, and the supplemental appropriation. And then we'll follow up on the 20th with the bond abatements and the tax levy final approval. So with that, let's move on. The first, let's see here, I've got quite a few papers, so just bear with me.
We have them too.
I think that's funny. All right. So we're just going to start here with the general fund item 4060 municipal sales tax. We revised that upward by $100,000. You can kind of see that there. The numbers are hard to read there, but it's the municipal sales tax. Off to the right, it says 100,000, 1.82%. So we did make a modification to that revenue code. Okay, as we're going along, we've got, whoop, what happened there? Okay, interesting here. All right, just bear with me as we work through this. So we had, we're adding a few things into the revenue here on 4820, wastewater and sewer in lieu of taxes. That is, we transfer over every year to these revenue codes. We've been doing it for time and memorial, so we're moving that over at this time into the revenue side. Then also the dispersed to corporate, $83,000, are all fees the water and sewer fund pays to the general fund. They were missing on the previous presentation budget. The debt proceeds of $750,000, financing for potential move of the police station. Nothing is final on this project as of yet. It's only a placeholder, so it's just a placeholder for a future activity. And then transfer from Fund 332, Fire Equipment Fund, a slight increase from the prior amount. Let's see. On the city clerk's budget, we're making a change on the, let's see here, workman's comp. So we've increased workman's comp expense from 5 to 7% overall. So we'll see a minor increase in all the workman comp expense line items throughout the budget. So that's the only thing that's identified in the clerk's budget. Again, workman's comp in the city manager's budget, same situation. Going down to communications department, we made a couple changes there. So decrease in wages and continuing education amounts due to pending change in staffing. So that is a little change there, as well as the education and training aspect. Okay. Under the finance, again, we have some more changes, as mentioned before. So various fringe benefit reduction corrections. On Public Works, we're recategorizing the engineering intern from non-bargaining to temporary. So that is under code, let's see here, 5245, so it's about midway down the page under, I'm sorry, that's workman's comp. The non-bargaining wages are changed there. Under government building, we did some overall changes to the budget. So the contracted building repair maintenance was reduced the total dollars allocated to tuck pointing for City Hall by $100,000. And then we also increased capital outlay by $850,000. That's related to the fire department or the police department. Bear with me, I've got quite a few papers. Okay, on the airport, we did make a few changes on the airport. Contracted building repair and maintenance, we decreased that by $10,000 for the J hangar roof repair. Also contracted equipment repair and maintenance, we decreased that by $5,000. Machinery and equipment, we added some there due to the fuel tanks. We're going to be, we need to replace 2 of the fuel tanks out there due to the, they need to be double lined for a regulatory thing, so we're going to be replacing those next year. Okay, moving on to street. We had quite a few changes on the street budget. Wages and fringe adjustments have been made to update the draft budget with current staffing registers. Since the beginning of this process, we've had employees retire or leave employment with higher paying rates than those that replace them. So there's a adjustment on the wages and fringe. Contracted infrastructure repair and maintenance, we decreased that by $20,000. Contracted vehicle repair and maintenance, we decreased by $20,000 based on actual experience with our mechanics this year. And then rock and road material, we decreased by $10,000 per actual expense. Supplies, street marking, we reduced by $5,000. Building supplies, we decreased by $5,000, and snow removal, we decreased by $19,620. These are all to kind of a lineup. We had make some hard choices with other priorities, so that's what you're seeing there. And as far as the snow and ice removal, we kind of shot high on that, and we reduced that to be closer to what we think it's going to be. Next item is cemetery contracted building repair and maintenance. We originally had been putting out about $11,000 per year for mausoleum roof repairs. The mausoleums we've got now are in pretty good shape, so we're going to forego that this year. And then contracted equipment repair and maintenance, we decreased that by $2,000. On forestry, contracted vehicle repair, we decreased that by $5,000. And then on fuel gasoline, we increased that by $250. And then tree assistance, we decreased by $20,000. Okay, under community development, wages, we eliminated the land use planner and replaced with a part-time Pretzel City Transit PCOM. And then and the fringe was reduced due to that change. And then consulting services reduced. We got some estimates back that reduced our need for the full $100,000. We're budgeting $70,000 for next year. So we are including a new code enforcement officer, just for those who are interested. Yeah, on police. Wages, various additions, non-bargaining in police. The Office Against Violence to Women grant was reduced for the coming year, and therefore we needed to add a portion of the wages back to the city budget. On the AFSCME side, the original budget only had 11 full-time dispatchers, and this was an error. We actually have 12. And then on the buildings, we moved the new police station into this code. On fire bargaining, as we did not, let's see here, that just changed again there. Oops. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So fire on bargaining side, as we did not receive the SAFER grant, we budgeted for 3 additional staff back to the 2019 level that we had originally. Overtime, we reduced overtime due to the staffing level increase, and will take several months for the new staff to be trained, so we made that change to anticipate that. And then contracted vehicle repair, more repairs on staff vehicles and ambulances. We're going to try to move those to the yards, so we made a change there. And then education and training was reduced because we won't have as many folks on it due to the SAFER grant to bring up to speed. Okay. Let's see here. So on the community development, wages and fringe, we added one more nuisance inspector, as I mentioned before. It just comes out of this budget instead of the community development budget. Hearing and admin, other professional services, we made some additions of more hearings. We have more hearings now regarding ordinance violations. And these are back to our judge, the fees related to our judge that presides over those enforcement hearings. So, other technical services under human resources, we increased 15,000. We added 15,000 under human resources. We anticipate doing a salary survey in 2024, so we wanted to make sure that was in the budget. For IT, we changed from 1 additional staff person to a 12-week intern. So they have someone to work with there in IT to do some of the, help bear some of the field work. Under the interdepartmental, transfer to debt service was increased $80,000, possible debt payment for new police station. Transfer to reserve fund, decrease of $250,000, $1 million to fund streets for the 2024 paving season. Transfer to capital improvement fund was an increase of $191,845 for vehicles. And then transfer to various grants, increase to $377,520. Needed to add the grant match for a pre-disaster mitigation grant, and then transfer out, increase 900,000. That equals the net of additions of the $1 million to the road fund and decrease of 100,000 to the landfill fund. Neighborhood and Housing Fund, the fund balance reserve, so we had an increase of 170,980 funds to be used as match to the hazard mitigation grant program. And we also have a change to the transfer out code, which is an increase of $170,980 funds to be transferred to the grant fund as a match to the HMGP grant. So Brownfield grant, there was a decrease of $950,000 in both grant revenue and demolition expense. It was determined that the timeline for this grant is 4 years, so we appropriately changed that. And then the hazard mitigation grant program. This grant was added to the budget for this year, for 2024. Pretzel City Transit grants, so the non-bargaining position. Currently, we have one full-time employee that is the program compliance and oversight monitor for the Pretzel City Transit, and also a grant writer and grant project manager. We're proposing to reduce the Pretzel City or the PCM to separate part-time positions. Essentially, what we're saying is we're going to get a part-time manager for the Pretzel City Transit, and then we're going to use our current planner to manage the various grant fundings and things instead of adding a new planner. We also reduced fringe from all full-time to part-time, and the benefits are reduced. Contracted transportation increased by $22,895 due to the change in staffing. Okay, motor fuel tax fund, the fund balance reserve, we increased that by $1 million. We had projected to complete the Pearl City Road this year with MFT funds. This project will not be completed until 2024, so we increased the fund balance. And then local match expense, we increased that by $1 million for the Pearl City Road. Greater Freeport Partner, so TIF funds, Greater Freeport Partner support has been reduced to $225,000 from $425,000 for 2024. Hotel Motel Fund will provide the bulk of the funding for the GFP this in 2024 at $211,000, with the remaining $14,000 to come from TIF support. Each of the TIFs have been adjusted by lowering the professional service line items and increasing the site improvement line items. So this one is the Lamb Road TIF and the West Avenue TIF, Burchard TIF, Meadows TIF, and then we're off to the Fire Improvement Fund. So the Fire Improvement Fund, small adjustment to transfer to debt service line item to balance the transfers. So you'll see that there. I think that's $6. So. Debt service fund transfers in increased $80,000 from the general fund to pay debt service on possible police department move, and then principal and interest increase of $75,000 and $5,000 respectively due to the possible police department move. Okay, police pension fund. This fund has not been presented to council previously. The Police Pension Board oversees this budget, and it was voted on and accepted at their meeting held on October 25th. So this is more of a, for your information, this is the police pension budget. In addition, fire pension funds, a similar situation. This fund's has not been previously presented to council. The Fire Pension Board oversees it, and it was voted on October 25th as well. at their meeting. So, for your information. Okay, landfill closure fund, we transferred in the amount of support from general fund has been reduced to the landfill closure fund by 100,000. Originally, part of the audit identified that we needed to carry a positive fund balance in the landfill closure fund. Historically, it has not. So we're slowly building that fund up, and we decided to reduce the amount of funding that we were building that up with due to the fact that we had some other priorities. But we are still building it up. The water fund, so wages and fringe adjustments have been made. Let's see here. Going too fast. Adjustments have been made to update the draft budget with current staffing registers. Since the beginning of this process, we have had employees retire or leave the employment of the city at higher rates of pay than those that replaced them. So we made changes to the staff or the wages and fringe. And then engineering, we executed an increase of $33,435 in the water fund. On the sewer fund, wages and benefits adjustments have been made to update the draft budget with the current staffing. Since the beginning of the process, we've also, again, had people retire and hired new ones. So that's been adjusted due to that. And then contracted infrastructure repair and maintenance, we increased that to $26,000. So storm sewer, the fund balance reserve increased of $2,615 to cover staff changes, and then wage and fringe in the storm sewer department. We only have one staff person allocated to stormwater, and the changes represent a change in the employee allocated to the stormwater fund. So we've completed the review of all of the changes that have been made since we started the process in August. At this time, I'd like to open the floor up for any questions.
Manager Boyer, if I could take you back to the first page, 4025, the increase in sales tax, is that just from what you've been seeing come through and anticipation from what we saw last year, or how did we come with that?
We're just adjusting it to where we think we'll be. We started the process back in August, and we've seen some changes in the sales tax figures, and we wanted to make sure we adjusted it appropriately for 2024.
Alderman Monroe.
Manager Boyer, what page is the total expenditures and total income for the city on that basically has everything in one bucket?
Okay, so on general fund, let me see which page that is. 1 second. Michelle, can you help me out with that?
You're looking for total revenue, total expense number, correct?
Correct.
So page 53 towards the very back of the packet, it compares all of the previous budgets, well, the last 3 years, 2021 through 2024. That very end, top line, general fund. Are you just asking general fund or everything altogether?
Yeah, everything.
I don't know if this, I'm sorry, I don't know if this one will add them all together. No, it does not. This just has it fund by fund. I'm sorry, I don't have that total for you. I certainly can get it.
We've got the general fund total summary is up on this slide. You've got the revenue of $26,700,000 and expenses of $27,700,000. You'll see a $1 million deficit, and that is due to the road program for next year. So we have a couple $1 million in MFT we plan to use, and we plan to use the fund reserve in the amount of $1 million for next year's road projects.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I asked that is just a kind of a comparison, total expenditures, you know, and total revenue, to kind of get a better idea. For me, it's being able to see the increase or decrease or holding steady where we're at.
Okay, well, it is up here on this slide. So you've got 2021 there, total activity, revenue was $23 million, expense was $19 million. Then you've got your 2022 activity, total revenue was $26 million, total activity was $21 million. So, is that answering your question, or is that not it?
I guess the question I have is that includes everything, you know, fire, police,
Yes,
roads?
that is the total general fund, and we're not including the utility because that's a different, you know, that's not part of the general fund. So we can look at the utility if you want. And this kind of summarizes it. It doesn't give you the total at the bottom, but on the water fund for 2024, we're budgeting 13 million in revenue, 13 million in expenses. On the sewer side, we're budgeting 36 million in revenue, 36 million in expenses. And then for the storm sewer fund, it's 3.9 million respectively, revenue and expenses.
Are you looking for maybe a total line at the very, very bottom to go across and add all of the funds together, perhaps?
I think that's, you know, kind of where I'm at, you know, and I understand the sewer fund and the water funds, well, not the water fund so much, but the sewer fund's gone up 6 million, you know, those kinds of things, just to see an overall budget number, as opposed to having it broken down into buckets. I understand why we're doing it by bucket. It gives the insight, but I think having something to compare year over year, you know, expenditures and revenue would be important.
We can definitely get you that report.
Awesome. Thank you.
We'll make sure everybody gets it. So. All right, great question. Anything else?
Alderman Sellers?
I'm trying to find it. Go ahead.
Okay. I just had a quick comment about the 142-6155 government buildings, the contracted repairs, that tuck pointing that you spoke of, we're gonna do a partial
Yes,
on
that's
City
correct.
Hall then? I think we really need to make sure that the following year then, that we take care of the rest, because that can's been kicked a couple of times already, and
I am very aware of that, and we will get it done, but as far as one of the priorities that's really come up here is obviously getting PD a new place.
Yeah.
So
obviously we can pick the worst sides and take care of that in order.
we'll deploy it we'll deploy it in a way that it's maximized.
Thank you. Alderman Sellers?
Yes, Manager Boyer. Just my question is, I noticed on a lot of different pages we were going through, you kept saying, you know, for the police department, what is the total that we're taking out of each one of these segments that we're looking for? What is that total number that you want for the police department that you're looking for?
I'm happy to discuss it, but for other various reasons, I'd
Okay.
like to kind of not go over it too much.
Okay.
But
Okay.
we're planning about $750,000.
That's the total from all the different lines that you said, okay, so.
Alderman Monroe.
And just to bring it back up for edification, how much was the repairs on the heating and cooling system in the PD? That was like $500,000, right? A little over?
Well, we haven't invested that in.
No, but if we were to do it, what was it?
It was pretty substantial. There you go.
450?
Thank you, Darren.
Okay, thank you.
450,000?
Yeah,
Just for the.
just for the heating and air
Antiquated
conditioning on the current building.
So, and there
Anyone
is
else?
asbestos remediation
Oh, yeah.
that's required there too, so.
Yeah. That's more than 450.
Anything else?
Actually, I have one more thing I wanted to go over, was the staffing level changes. So as far as the changes that we're looking at, it's a total of 8 full-time, an increase of 8 full-time staff and 4 part-time staff. And that includes 3 additional firefighters for fire. That includes 3 street workers for the street projects, a dispatch supervisor, and let's see here. What was the last one, Michelle? Do you remember? Tell me.
I'm sorry, I lost my page.
So I'm just looking at the 2024 staffing page.
Yeah.
Oh, nuisance inspector. So that's where the additional staff is coming from. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but this has been that's a large increase in staff. That's the largest one in quite a few years.
Got a question, Greg.
Alderman Parker?
You mentioned everything but the police, we're not adding police in that last little.
Well, we'll be filling all the open positions. Right now, we can't fill all the open positions, and we are actually adding a dispatch supervisor to the police department.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have something else,
Just-
Alderman Sellers?
Just wondering, I know we got the cannabis use tax. With that new dispensary come in, is that just county or is that also city gets on that too?
I'm gonna hand that one to Michelle.
I didn't know we were getting it.
Oh, it was, huh? Oh, it's a sign when you hit it out? Is that not? Oh, I'm just asking because I don't know. It surprised me, that's why I'm asking.
We don't have a dispensary.
Okay,
The flag's a little misleading.
okay, thank you. Thank you, I'm glad I asked, because people were asking and,
Good, yeah.
okay.
Hey, you gotta
Thank
answer gotta make sure you got it all, so you
Yeah.
know how to
I
answer
was like,
everybody.
wow, okay.
I hadn't been asked that, so,
Oh, okay, yeah, I was surprised me too. Thank you.
okay.
Anything else?
Okay, well, thank you very much.
And is there any other discussion on the budget?
I have one thing I'd like to ask.
Yes. Alderman Sellers.
I would just like to ask, what is our, how are we planning on paying for some of the, all these different things that we, the grants and the EPAs and all those different things? If we already have a bunch of stuff that's on us already, how do we plan on paying for these new budgets that we're not just deeper in the red?
Sure, we're not gonna be in the red. We're gonna be, hopefully revenue neutral. So everything's been planned, all the payments that we currently have and have into the future. We've gone through the entire budget and it's all been budgeted and we're sitting in a pretty good position. So we are not in the red except for a decision to, take $1 million out of reserves for the road projects for next year.
Thank you.
And,
Alderman Clem?
and that's a $1 million deficit you mentioned?
Right, yes, that's why you have $1 million deficit is for the road program for next year. We're planning on about a $3 million road program. We've got $2 million out of MFT and $1 million out of reserves we're gonna use for next year's road program.
Thank you.
So that actually isn't in the red. It's red for that line item in reserves. It's we're not borrowing money for the
No,
road projects.
no, we're not
It's
borrowing
there.
money. We have a
Like-
cash reserve. We're using $1 million of our cash reserve for that.
Thank you. And any other public comments?
Could I follow up with one? Greg?
Sure, Alderman.
And you mentioned it, but the Pearl City Road deal of the $1 million, that's already budgeted for this year, but could not be done this year, so it's just transferred over to next year.
That's correct. Technically, it'll be $4 million total.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have anything else, Alderman Sellers? No. Any public comments, agenda or non-agenda items? Seeing none, I would entertain a,
Motion for, I make a motion for adjournment.
So move.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.